Welcome to this special edition of Beyond Innovation, where we are finding the latest in technology and innovation from around the world that is changing the way we live and do business. Ahead on the show, smartphones that anticipate your needs. Plus, innovation designed for billions, not millions. AI reaching the majority. But first, IBM decodes the AI landscape to share where real value can be found. In a market obsessed with building ever bigger AI models and chasing quantum dreams years away, founders need focus. Emily, you're IBM's global head of venture capital, backing fit-for-purpose bets built for real-world impact, from open source AI to quantum software. You meet about 800 startups a year, but only back around a dozen. What makes a company rise to the top of that list for you?
We're extremely selective, and we're selective for a reason. We're a strategic investor. We deploy something called our Capital Plus model, and therefore we really want to make sure there's strategic alignment. What we do is we evaluate them against five key pillars. There's team, again, very important. What you look for is you look for people who are got deep technical expertise, but it's not just about the people. For us, we really double down, but also strategic alignment. That's incredibly important to us because we want to look at what are the long-term goals of both IBM and where we want to go in our direction, but also what's going on in industry, right? We want to make sure as a strategic investor, we are investing in the right companies for where we want to go.
Everyone's chasing AI right now. Some call it a bubble. You're still making big bets in the space. What do you say to the skeptics?
There's a ton of money, don't get me wrong, going into investing right now. Let me give you an example of that, right? The first half of 2025 was the entirety of 104 billion in AI for all of
And
2025.
that was just AI alone.
That was AI alone. And that was the entirety of 2024, right? So you're going to continue to see huge investment, but this is where it's going. The other thing you're starting to see is an enormous amount of adoption. And that's incredibly important because that adoption is showing people are really starting to use it. You have over the last few months, you've seen a jump from 26% to 43%. That's huge. And it's only going to grow, right? So I
Can
think
it grow at that rate though still?
I think it's going to. I absolutely do because people are starting to see the return on investment, right? They're starting to see the need to use this to stay up on time. You don't want to get left behind. I always tell companies that is what's your strategy? How are you dealing most importantly with data, particularly unstructured data? This is why I invest in a company called Unstructured because 80% of data is unstructured data. And you have to deal with that. It's become an imperative and not just hey, something strategically you want to do. You've got to deal with it.
You've talked about fit for purpose models rather than these giant frontier models. Why do you think smaller targeted AI will win in the enterprise?
I really strongly believe in this idea of having a hybrid kind of model strategy, right? It's really important. This is another huge shift that we're starting to see where people are going from having one model, 85% of enterprises have two or more models. It's incredibly important to both have a variety of models that you can choose from, right? Kind of that fit for purpose strategy. It allows you to be more open. It allows you to be more agile. Having an open architecture ultimately makes you more resilient. And you need that as you kind of determine which model is best for your workloads.
IBM's bet on open source like Hugging Face has really paid off. What's the commercial edge in open versus closed models for business AI?
The key here is ensuring, as we've talked about, right? It's ensuring that you have an open architecture and that you are able to integrate in and you're not locked in for vendors, right? That's hugely important. So you need to continue to have that open strategy in order to be successful, right? And you're going to continue to see people adopt more models, adopt the right model for them. The other key trend that we're starting to see is people want to ensure that they have specific AI for what they need, right? It doesn't matter what industry you're in. You're seeing this across industries, right? Everyone's doubling down on if my KPIs are different than your KPIs, right? I want to make sure that my AI and my models are reflecting what I need, right? That's why reinforcement learning is something you're going to start to see as a big trend in 2026.
Quantum computing is another big IBM focus, but it's still early. Why invest now? And what kind of quantum startups are actually investable today?
First of all, we're building the future now. And we fundamentally believe that quantum is the future. It's the next level of computing. Think about it. We had mainframe, we have classical AI. Now we have quantum, right? So we are building that now. But we're
Will that surpass everything else that's come before?
think about it as don't over engineer it. You want to decide what for your workload, you need to decide do you need classical, right? Do you need quantum? That's the determination you're going to have to make for what you need. But what I do think is incredibly important right now is we build an ecosystem. You're seeing a ton of money flowing to hardware, right? But you're really not seeing that many software companies or companies that are building algorithms on the market looking for capital.
You're meeting hundreds of founders a year. What are they most worried about in 2026?
I think founders now are constantly worried about driving revenue. It's really important showing that progression. What's keeping them up at night is working with procurement, right? And getting contracts through. Where you show real adoption and where you show real success is going from a pilot to a contract. And then from that contract, starting to go across BUs or deep into additional workflows. That's what you want to see as investors. That's keeping them up at night. And it's also me as an investor keeping me up at night because one of the key things I evaluate companies on are, can you convert to actual contracts?
In today's remote world, HR teams run thousands of Zoom interviews every week. But AI deepfakes are turning those interviews into a minefield. Fraudsters are stealing resumes, cloning voices, even swapping faces. The result? Wasted time, security risks, and fake hires slipping through. Reality Defender has a solution. Their Zoom plugin runs quietly in the background, streaming video and audio to AI detectors. It scans for pixel-level anomalies in video, glitches in voice, and assembles everything into a confidence score. Deepfake detected. The same plugin works in high-stakes meetings, verifying every face and voice in real time, catching fraud as it happens. Enterprises rely on it at scale as well. Banks can scan thousands of customer calls daily, flagging synthetic voices before impersonation scams reach high-value accounts. Governments and militaries use it to detect disinformation, even on older videos created before detection systems existed. As deepfakes get cheaper and easier to make, detection may be the only scalable defense left. Still ahead, how putting underserved languages into AI is turning inclusion into a competitive edge. AI is supposed to be transformative technology, but right now it's more like a mirror, reflecting back the priorities, the languages, and the problems of the small slice of humanity that built it. What happens when you flip that? When you build AI for the majority, not the minority? Chenai, can you share a moment when AI failed someone because their language wasn't available or an option? What happened?
I think for me personally, it's always frustrating when I'm trying to interact with any AI system in my own language, which is Shona, and then the answer that I get is garbage. And it can be funny in the beginning, but when I'm looking for something really serious, it's disheartening.
Just how big is this problem? How many African languages are we talking about?
There are over 2,000 African languages and counting that are currently existent. Just a quick search I did right now. ChatGPT only covers mainly Amharic, Swahili, and Somali. But when we think about how well they work, we actually then have to do the assessments in terms of, do they work well in the interpretation that you get? Do they work well in the context and the relevant answer you get? And do they work well without someone having to shift how they speak in order for the system to understand them?
Africa is not unique. Languages are being overlooked in the Middle East, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Native English speakers account for just 5% of the world's population, yet it's the dominant language used in AI training models. What's even more interesting is that 14 languages control 90% of the world's online purchasing power. So that's where AI investment flows. If your language isn't in the model, you don't just miss out on a chatbot, you're locked out of the next wave of digital services. So what does that look like in practice? Companies like TECNO are betting they can build AI that adapts to the majority, not the other way around.
We've always stuck to a localization philosophy, developing AI functions around the user's local needs in each country. We rigorously evaluate every feature against one simple question: does this genuinely solve a user problem? We prioritize multilingual support as a key investment, allowing users to naturally communicate with their phones in their native language.
This user problem filter becomes critical when you're building for the mass market in developing economies. The challenges are fundamentally different from mature markets.
So not everyone has access to a smart device. Most people have access to feature phones. So you do want to build edge AI that doesn't rely on much internet data, which still allows for people to interact with your service and system.
I've seen literacy statistics for some African countries. Now, they're lower than I expected. If someone can't read or struggles with reading, how does that change what AI needs to be for them?
AI needs predominantly to be voice first. So for those who can communicate through voice, it can really work if it's voice first rather than standard text. And when I talk about standard text, it's usually textbook text that people have to go through a formal education system to be able to understand some of the words. And people don't speak like that every day. We speak in a way that's colloquial, that has slang in it.
We are not designing for edge cases. We are designing for the majority. I want to show you our AI assistant, Ella. What really sets her apart from other AI assistants is her language support. She can handle more languages than pretty much anyone else out there.
There must be over 70 languages on this list, with over half serving populations with less than 100 million speakers that Western AI ignores. If your language isn't supported, you don't just lose convenience, you lose access, trust, and economic participation. Across 16 key emerging economies, digital adoption will unlock $3.4 trillion annually by 2030. The people left out of AI aren't marginal, they're the next growth engine. At the United Nations, Lambert Hogenhout is trying to define what AI for the majority should look like.
AI agents are the next level of AI. They can automate tasks, book a ticket online, or maybe even draft a whole email and send it off. The combination of cloud services and AI empowers people in many regions. For example, women who could never have a career because they needed to stay at home, for example, to look after the children. They can now probably set up a business from their kitchen table. That was not possible 20 years ago.
It's one thing to build a business, it's another to find customers. Across Africa, French connects former colonial territories and entrepreneurs who can use this technology to unlock global markets that were once unreachable.
Hi, I found a good restaurant. Do you want to join us tonight?
Bonjour, j'ai trouvé un bon restaurant. Voulez-vous nous rejoindre ce soir?
Ah, bonjour Penn, c'est très gentil. Oui, à quelle heure?
Through our research, we observed that many parents passionately value their children's education, but lack the formal training to help with homework.
Entering into problem-solving mode, you have a multimodal AI image recognition, natural language processing, and localized response generation that breaks down and explains how they got the answer every step of the way. Parents who couldn't afford tutors now have AI that works in their language on their phone. So the technology exists. The question is, how do you make sure you're building for the people who actually need it, not just imagining what they need?
AI has tremendous potential for good. From farmers using AI to predict weather patterns and to help them plant more crops. And the right way to use AI is to look very carefully at the context in which it is being used. I think the next step in the development of AI systems is localization. It includes multilingualism and it includes the local cultural context.
So when people see themselves represented in the systems that are being created, they're more likely to trust them. But then it's that ability for people to see someone who looks like them and someone who's accessible actually doing the dataset collection and the tool building.
This philosophy, built for the many, not the few, echoes across African-led AI initiatives where communities don't just use the technology, they build it.
So the work of Masakhane Research Foundation and ultimately the Hub has been to create community-driven datasets. I'll give you an example of a project I worked on with a group of young people out in Mombasa in Kenya. They were very excited to actually contribute text and voice because they felt proud to actually see their work and their language represented on a digital platform led by them.
Our approach is fundamentally different because we start from the ground up in these markets. This begins with maintaining complete product operations and user research teams in these regions. These teams don't just analyze data, they immerse themselves in communities to understand the actual challenges people face in communication, work, and education. These field observations then feed into our dedicated AI fundamental teams, who specialize in translating these real-world insights into practical AI capabilities.
In South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia, from research labs to factory floors, AI for the majority isn't a theory anymore. It's being built one language and one community at a time. Coming up, inside the quiet giant putting edge AI into everything from your phone to your car. If you travel the world, you'll find innovation wherever you turn. Here's a snapshot of some of the most exciting new technologies that are currently in development. Starting off in South Korea. Meet Cloyd, a wheeled humanoid with articulated arms and 5-fingered hands that can fold laundry, unload the dishwasher, and even prep breakfast. LG calls its vision a zero-labor home. With its surprisingly charming cartoon-like eyes, Cloyd isn't just doing chores. It coordinates your entire smart home, anticipating needs, managing appliances on its own, and adapting in real time. LG calls this affectionate intelligence, powered by AI that combines vision, language, and spatial reasoning. It's proactive, not just reactive. Each arm has 7 degrees of freedom, giving Cloyd near-human dexterity. Think pulling croissants from the oven, stacking clothes, or serving meals. The catch? It's still a concept, which means even the most advanced robot can't replace human hands. Yet. Next up, Switzerland. Your robot's next power source might come from the seafood counter. Researchers at EPFL in Switzerland have shown that langoustine shells, the ones restaurants toss by the ton, can be turned into functional robot actuators. For years, engineers have struggled to create materials that are both stiff and flexible. Crustaceans? They've been wearing the solution as armor for millions of years. The team reinforced tiny shells with elastomers and tendons. The result? A 3-gram component capable of lifting 680 grams, cycling 8 times per second. They've even built swimming robots reaching 11 centimeters per second. What makes this truly exciting? It's circular. Use the shell, let it decompose, reuse the synthetic bits. It's early days, lab success doesn't guarantee commercial robots on the market tomorrow, but when food waste starts outperforming engineered materials, it's worth paying attention. And our last stop is the United States. Precision medicine sounds revolutionary in theory. In practice, it's a data nightmare. Every patient generates mountains of information, genomic profiles, imaging, lab results, often scattered across incompatible systems. Tempus uses AI-powered precision medicine to make sense of it all. Upload a patient's genomic profile, and their AI doesn't just identify mutations, it predicts treatment response, drawing on real-world outcomes from similar cases. Their platform can analyze pathology slides using computer vision, match patients to clinical trials, and recently earned FDA clearance for cardiac AI that spots heart problems from routine ECGs. The newest addition is David, a generative AI assistant embedded directly in hospital systems. It monitors patient data in real time, essentially like having a research team running quietly in the background of every appointment. The critical question remains, does this actually improve patient outcomes? With so many top hospitals integrating the technology, we're about to find out. And that's our wrap of the top innovations from around the world. We've entered a new era where high-performance intelligence is no longer a remote service, but a native hardware requirement. This shift is forcing a total rethink of how chip makers and device manufacturers build products together from the ground up. AI is moving rapidly from the cloud into devices themselves. What do you see as the biggest opportunities and challenges in making AI run directly on devices?
MediaTek believes the biggest opportunity AI brings to edge device is moving from touch-based to conversational and hybrid experiences. Next generation AI smartphones will reshape the app ecosystem from the touch-based. And we believe more and more proactive and personalized AI-powered features and services will run on device, just like a personal assistant for you, and will also protect your personal privacy data. And for challenges, I think today the biggest challenges are cost and power consumption. We all know a strong on-device AI needs lots of DRAM memory, right? And big flash for AI models and cutting-edge process technology to build powerful NPU. And all of that are very expensive. We all know battery life matters for smartphones. So we need to put lots of resources to deliver AI features efficiently.
AI is often invisible until it suddenly changes how we do something. What do you think will be the next aha moment for consumers?
I think aha moment for me is predictive AI. But we think once AI became your active and trusted life agent and stay with you all the time, then the aha moment is coming. To get there, we need very powerful NPU. We need small and more capable AI models. And also we need to break applications barrier. As you know, all your personal data is not only stored in your pocket. Your personal data stored in the applications like Google account, like WeChat account. So the whole ecosystem need to work together to make sure that all the data can be secured and processed.
AI features often debut in high-end smartphones. How is MediaTek bringing them into the mid-range and mass market?
We have different product lines from flagship to premium to mainstream and low-end products. But for emerging market, we can only sell below-end premium products, right? But our partner TECNO, we have the same commitment to bring excellent experiences to all the people, right? So they push us. They try to input very valuable emerging market insights and ask us to co-develop beyond simple standard chip supply. We co-work together, and they will optimize their algorithms based on our chip design. So we can have better synergy to provide outstanding performance without sacrificing too much performance. So even in the mainstream price segment, we can provide excellent AI camera features without sacrificing much performance and quality.
What does it take to build AI imaging pipelines that are truly inclusive across skin tones, lighting, and geographies?
We need to know the emerging market insights. Then we can know how to optimize our technology. So we co-work with TECNO in our joint AI lab, and we will know we can optimize our AI algorithms to enable 3A algorithms like auto exposure, autofocus, auto white balance. And also we will try to do fast detection for different color people.
I'm looking forward to seeing MediaTek keep scaling AI across everyday devices. Well, that does it for this edition of the show. And if you come across some breakthrough technology you think we should know about, let us know online across our social media channels at beyondinnovation.tv. Make sure to join us next time. And remember, the future lies just beyond innovation.